Noah, peace be upon him, was still calling his people in Iraq to Allah Almighty. He was the first messenger sent to mankind, yet his people continued to defy him, and only a few believed in him and his message, mostly the weak, oppressed, and trod down. The majority opposed him and harmed him, but he never tired or gave up. He did not leave a single time of day or night, neither in secret nor in public, nor any possible method, except that he used it with them. Still, they resisted him and fabricated lies against him. When they saw his patience and steadfastness, they resolved to kill him, the prophet of Allah, Noah, peace be upon him. Many prophets had indeed been killed before, for Allah sent thousands of prophets and messengers, but only about 25 were mentioned to us, while countless others remain unknown. Allah Almighty informed us that some prophets were killed by their people. As for Noah, peace be upon him, they threatened him with death. They said they would stone him to death if he did not cease his call, for they had no logic, no argument, and no truth. The truth was with Noah. Natural disposition, fitra, was with him, reason was with him, and the religion of Allah was with him. Unable to confront him with proof, they resorted to threats of death, saying, "We will stone you until you die." This method of killing is painful. Unlike beheading, which causes pain at once, stoning brings prolonged agony. They had also threatened other prophets with burning, and indeed some were stoned. They threatened Noah, peace be upon him, with stoning until death. But do you think the prophets feared their peoples? Never. They were chosen by Allah, their hearts attached to Him, placing full reliance on Him. This reliance, tawakkul, is the essence of true monotheism, and the prophets embodied it at the highest level, knowing that everything is in the hands of Allah Almighty. Allah said, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ نُوحٍ إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ يَا قَوْمِ إِنْ كَانَ كَبُرَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَقَامِي وَتَذْكِيرِي بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ فَعَلَى اللَّهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ فَأَجْمِعُوا أَمْرَكُمْ وَشُرَكَاءَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُنْ أَمْرُكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ غُمَّةً ثُمَّ اقْضُوا إِلَيَّ وَلَا تُنظِرُونَ. When his people threatened him with death, Noah responded, "If my standing and reminding you of the signs of Allah has become too burdensome, then I rely upon Allah. So plot together against me, you and your partners, and do not let your plan be obscure to you. Then carry it out against me and give me no respite." He challenged them, saying in effect, "If you intend to kill me, do it now. My weapon is reliance upon Allah." Could they harm him? Yes, they abused him. But could they kill him? No, for Allah protected him, because he placed his trust in Allah. This was the weapon of the prophets, reliance upon Allah. He complained to his Lord. قال ربي إنهم عصوني واتبعوا من لم يزده ماله وولده إلا خسارا. O Lord, they disobeyed me and followed those whose wealth and children only increased them in loss. They plotted a mighty plot. They would go to the people Noah called to Allah and say, "Pay no attention to him. Continue worshipping Wad, Suwa', Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr." Every time Noah invited people to Allah, they would counter his call by urging people to remain steadfast in the worship of their idols. Their enmity was so severe that they even threatened him with death. Yet Allah protected him and preserved the light of prophethood. Their persecution grew so harsh that each new generation inherited hostility against him, being told by their fathers that Noah was a madman. Thus, every generation passed its hatred to the next, until Allah said, "Atawasaw bihi, bal hum qawmun taghun." They would beat Noah in the streets, strangle him until he fell unconscious, bleeding, and thought dead. They would wrap him in cloth and throw him in his house, only for him to awaken after hours or days, wash himself, and return to calling them once again. Such patience cannot be found among mankind except in the prophets, those of determination. Sometimes a father would hand a stone to his son, telling him, "When you pass by that man, throw it at him." And the child, carried on his father's shoulders, would hurl stones at Noah while he was preaching. Despite this, Noah would pray, "O Allah, forgive my people, for they do not know." He endured this for 950 years. Allah said, فَلَبِثَ فِيهِمْ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ إِلَّا خَمْسِينَ عَامًا. He endured strangling, beating, stoning, and every form of abuse. At last, he raised his hands in prayer. قال ربي إنهم كذبوني فافتح بيني وبينهم فتحا ونجني ومن معي من المؤمنين. This supplication came only after 950 years of da'wah. Allah then revealed to Noah, "None of your people will believe except those who have already believed. Even 2 of his household did not believe, his wife, who betrayed him, and his son, called Yam or Canaan. The rest of his children and their wives believed, alongside a few weak and oppressed believers." Allah said, "Do not grieve over what they used to do." Noah then prayed, وَقَالَ نُوحٌ رَبِّ لَا تَذَرَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ دِيَارًا إِنَّكَ إِن تَذَرْهُمْ يُضِلُّ عِبَادَكَ وَلَا يَلِدُ إِلَّا فَاجِرًا كَفَّارًا. His prayer was in fact mercy, for if the disbelievers were left, they would misguide others, and their children would only become disbelievers. Thus, he asked Allah to destroy them all. Allah answered his supplication, but the punishment was not immediate. Years still passed. Allah then commanded Noah to begin building the ark. He had already been instructed 100 years ago to plant a specific type of tree, for its wood would be used in constructing the vessel. Noah said, "O Lord, I am not a carpenter, nor have I ever made a ship. Moreover, this land is desert. There is no sea or river here." Allah replied, "I will guide you." And Allah said, وَاصْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا وَوَحْيِنَا وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي فِي الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِنَّهُمْ مُغْرَقُونَ. Noah, together with the believers, began cutting the wood and crafting the ark under divine instruction. His disbelieving wife informed the people, saying, "My husband has gone mad. He is building a ship in the middle of a barren desert." When the people saw him and the believers assembling wood and hammering it with nails, they mocked him, saying, "O Noah, what are you building?" He replied, "I am building a ship." They laughed and ridiculed him even more. "Building a ship in the desert? Truly, he has lost his mind." Allah said, وَيَصْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ وَكُلَّمَا مَرَّ عَلَيْهِ مَلَأٌ مِّن قَوْمِهِ سَخِرُوا مِنْهُ قَالَ إِن تَسْخَرُوا مِنَّا فَإِنَّ نَسْخَرُ مِنكُمْ كَمَا تَسْخَرُونَ. He responded with dignity, saying, "If you mock us, we mock you just as you mock us. For soon you will know who will be seized by a humiliating punishment and who will face enduring torment." They laughed because they could not comprehend how punishment could come in such a land without water. Yet Noah continued building the ark for perhaps 100 or 200 years until it was completed. Allah then told him, "When the sign appears, take aboard pairs of every kind of creature, male and female, including cattle, horses, predators, even cats and mice, as well as birds. Gather also the believers with you, but not your wife or disbelieving son." Noah asked, "What is the sign, O Lord?" Allah replied, "When you see water gushing forth from the oven, tanur, where bread is baked, know that the matter has begun. This would be the signal for Noah to prepare himself, the believers, and the creatures for embarkation." And so Noah waited for years until the tanur overflowed. For years, Noah, peace be upon him, awaited the sign that Allah Almighty had informed him of. From time to time, he would go to see the tanur, oven, to check if water had begun to appear from it, until that destined day finally came. A day of great magnitude that mankind on earth had been warned about since Adam, peace be upon him, who had cautioned his children for 10 generations. People had always expected such an event, but no one knew that it would happen then. The tanur overflowed, and water began to gush forth. Noah hastened and commanded the animals to embark on the ark. Imagine, Allah knows best how many animals there were. Not only animals, but also birds. It is said the ark had 3 levels, the lowest for the larger animals like sheep, cows, horses, and all other creatures, male and female. The upper level for the birds that may have flown and returned again, and the middle level for the people of faith, including Noah, peace be upon him. People watched, bewildered, wondering what was happening. Why was Noah boarding with his followers and loading animals onto this ark when there was no rain and no sea? The people thought he had gone mad. The earth was dry, and yet they saw him preparing. But then came the command, فَفَارَتْ النُّورُ قُلْ نَحْمِلْ فِيهَا مِنْ كُلٍّ زَوْجَيْنِ اثْنَيْنِ
وأهلك إلا من سبق عليه القول ومن آمن وما آمن معه إلا قليل. And Noah said to the people of faith, board it, and say, Bismillahi, as you ride. وقال اركبوا فيها بسم الله مجريها ومرسيها إن ربي لغفور رحيم. As they boarded and people looked on, suddenly the promise of Allah came to pass. The skies began to pour, not with ordinary rain, but torrents like buckets of water being emptied onto the earth. ففتحنا أبواب السماء بماء منهمر وفجرنا الأرض عيونا فالتقى الماء على أمر قد قدر. Water burst forth from the earth below and gushed from the skies above, until the waters met by a decree already destined. The ark rose, carried upon waves. وَحَمَلْنَاهُ عَلَى ذَاتِ أَلْوَاحٍ وَدُسُرٍ. Imagine the people. At first they sought refuge in their homes, thinking their roofs would protect them from the rain. But as the waters rose above their houses, they climbed their rooftops. When even that failed, they fled, screaming and crying toward the mountains. Some drowned, others could not escape, and even parents abandoned children in desperation. Waves as high as mountains surged. وَهِيَ تَجْرِي بِهِمْ فِي مَوْجٍ كَالْجِبَالِ. Noah, moved by fatherly love, asked his sons Sam, Ham, and Japheth, "Where is your brother?" They replied, "He did not board with us, father." He sought his son Yam, also known as Canaan, amid the chaos, calling out, O my son, come aboard and do not be with the disbelievers." Though Allah had already told him, إِلَّا مَنْ سَبَقَ عَلَيْهِ الْقَوْلُ, still Noah's heart hoped. His son, seeing his father, replied, "I will take refuge on a mountain to protect me from the water." But Noah said, "لَا عَاصِمَ الْيَوْمَ مِنْ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ." Yet the son ran toward the mountain. Then the waves surged between them. وَحَالَ بَيْنَهُمَا الْمَوْجُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْمُغْرَقِينَ. The ark sailed through violent waves while rain fell for 40 days. Everything was submerged. Homes, cities, even mountains disappeared beneath the flood. The ark carried Noah and the believers as they praised Allah. فَإِذَا اسْتَوَيْتَ أَنْتَ وَمَنْ مَعَكَ عَلَى الْفُلْكِ فَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي نَجَّانَا مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Noah had once prayed, "Rabbi la tadhar ala al-ardi min al-kafirina dayyara." So the flood covered all the earth, leaving none alive but those on the ark. For months they sailed over the waters, carried wherever Allah willed, until Noah sent a dove to see if the earth had dried. At first it returned with nothing, then later with an olive leaf, and finally with mud upon its feet, signaling the land was drying. Allah commanded, وَقِيلَ يَا أَرْضُ ابْلَعِي مَاءَكِ وَيَا سَمَاءُ أَقْلِعِي وَغِيضَ الْمَاءُ وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِيِّ وَقِيلَ بُعْدًا لِلْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. The ark came to rest upon Mount Judi in Iraq, and the believers rejoiced. Yet Noah, remembering his son, supplicated, "Rabbi inna ibni min ahli wa inna wa'daka al-haqqu." But Allah replied, "Ya Nuh, innahu laysa min ahlika, innahu amalun ghayru salihin, fala tas'alanni ma laysa laka bihi ilmun, inni a'idhuka an takuna min al-jahilina." Noah realized his error, repented, and wept for years, asking forgiveness. قال ربي إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني أكن من الخاسرين. Eventually Allah commanded, قيل يا نوح بط بسلام منا وبركات عليك وعلى ممن معك وأمم سنمتعهم ثم يمسهم منا عذاب أليم. Thus Noah and the believers descended to a purified land, and mankind began anew. Only the progeny of Noah's 3 believing sons, Sam, Ham, and Japheth, remained, and from them all humanity spread. Noah lived among them until his death, always reminding them of La ilaha illallah and commanding them to worship Allah alone. Before his death, he told his children, "If the heavens and earth and all that is between them were placed on one side of a scale, and La ilaha illallah on the other, it would outweigh them." He left them with this legacy of Tawheed until Allah took his soul. Salamun ala Nuhin fil alamina. إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين إنه من عبادنا المؤمنين